What if I told you there's a simple diagram that could change your financial future? A concept so powerful, it's helped thousands of people transform their relationship with money and achieve true financial freedom. Intrigued? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the world of Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant. Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. I'm your host, and today we're exploring a game-changing book that has revolutionized the way people think about money, work, and financial success. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant isn't just another run-of-the-mill finance book. It's a roadmap to financial independence that challenges everything you thought you knew about wealth creation. Now, before we jump in, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two people, both hardworking and ambitious. One spends their entire life climbing the corporate ladder, saving diligently, and dreaming of a comfortable retirement. The other seems to work less, but somehow ends up with more money, more time, and more freedom. What's the difference between these two individuals? The answer lies in understanding the cash flow quadrant. Kiyosaki's concept is brilliantly simple, yet profoundly impactful. Picture a square divided into 4 equal parts. On the left side, you have E for employee and S for self-employed. On the right side, you have B for business owner and I for investor. These 4 quadrants represent the 4 ways people can generate income. But here's the kicker. Not all quadrants are created equal when it comes to building lasting wealth and achieving financial freedom. Let's break down each quadrant, starting with the E or employee quadrant. This is where most of us start our financial journey, and for many, it's where we stay. Employees trade their time for money, relying on a steady paycheck. It's the world of 9-to-5 jobs, climbing the corporate ladder, and dreaming of that next promotion or raise. While there's nothing inherently wrong with being an employee, Kiyosaki argues that this quadrant offers the least control over your financial destiny. Think about it. As an employee, your income is largely determined by others. You're limited by the number of hours in a day, and no matter how hard you work, there's usually a ceiling to how much you can earn. Plus, you're always at the mercy of your employer. Economic downturns, company restructures, or simply a boss who doesn't appreciate your value can all threaten your financial stability. Moving to the S quadrant, we have the self-employed. These are the doctors, lawyers, plumbers, and consultants who've decided to be their own boss. They've escaped the constraints of employment, but have essentially created a job for themselves. While they have more control over their work and potentially higher income, they're still trading time for money. The moment they stop working, the money stops flowing. Self-employed individuals often fall into what Kiyosaki calls the self-employed trap. They might make more money than they did as employees, but they're working longer hours and carrying all the stress and responsibility of running their own show. They've bought themselves a job, not financial freedom. Now, let's shift our focus to the right side of the quadrant, starting with the B for business owner. This is where things get really interesting. Business owners don't just own a job, they own a system. They build something that can generate money even when they're not physically present. Think of successful franchises, online businesses, or companies with teams of employees. The key here is leverage, using other people's time and money to build wealth. Kiyosaki shares the story of Ray Kroc, the man who built McDonald's into a global empire. Kroc didn't flip burgers himself. He created a system that could be replicated thousands of times over. He leveraged other people's time, employees, and other people's money, investors, to build a business that continues to generate wealth long after his passing. Finally, we have the I quadrant, the investor. This is where money truly works for you. Investors use their money to generate more money. They don't have to work for it. Their assets do the heavy lifting. This could be through real estate, stocks, bonds, or other investment vehicles. The key is that their money is actively growing and generating returns, even while they sleep. Now, here's where Kiyosaki's insight becomes truly transformative. He argues that the path to financial freedom lies in moving from the left side of the quadrant, E and S, to the right side, B and I. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter and leveraging systems and assets to generate wealth. But why do the rich seem to get richer? It's not just luck or starting capital. It's about a fundamental difference in focus and financial education. while those on the left side of the quadrant focus on earning a higher income. Those on the right side focus on acquiring assets and increasing their financial intelligence. Let me share a personal anecdote that illustrates this perfectly. A few years ago, I met two former classmates at a reunion. Both were successful by most standards, but their financial situations were worlds apart. Mike was a highly paid executive at a Fortune 500 company. He had the corner office, the impressive title, and a salary that most would envy. Then there was Sarah, who had started a small online business right out of college. On the surface, Mike seemed to be doing better. He drove a luxury car and lived in a big house in an upscale neighborhood. Sarah, on the other hand, drove a modest car and lived in a smaller home. But here's the twist. Sarah's business had grown to the point where it was generating significant passive income. She worked when she wanted to, not because she had to. Mike, despite his high salary, was still trapped in the rat race, needing to work to maintain his lifestyle. This real-life example perfectly encapsulates Kiyosaki's teachings. Mike, in the E quadrant, was focused on earning a high income. Sarah, in the B quadrant, had built a system that generated wealth for her. The difference in their financial freedom was stark. But let's be clear, moving from the left side to the right side of the quadrant isn't just about making a career change. It requires a fundamental shift in mindset and the development of new skills. This is where many people stumble. The transition can be challenging and scary. It often means leaving the comfort and security of a steady paycheck for the uncertainty of entrepreneurship or investing. Kiyosaki doesn't sugarcoat this transition. He acknowledges that it requires overcoming fears and limiting beliefs that have been ingrained in us since childhood. Many of us have been conditioned to seek job security, to play it safe. We've been taught that the path to success is getting good grades, going to college, and climbing the corporate ladder. But in today's rapidly changing economy, is that path still valid? Kiyosaki argues that true security comes not from a job, but from your ability to adapt, learn, and generate income in any economic condition. It's about developing your financial intelligence and learning to see opportunities where others see obstacles. This brings us to one of the core themes of the book, the importance of financial education. Kiyosaki believes that our traditional education system fails to teach us the skills we need to thrive financially. We learn how to work for money, but not how to make money work for us. So, what does it mean to build your financial intelligence? It starts with understanding cash flow. This is more than just knowing how much money is coming in and going out. It's about understanding the patterns of money movement and learning how to direct that flow to your advantage. A key aspect of this is learning to identify and acquire assets. But be careful. Kiyosaki's definition of an asset might be different from what you've been taught. He defines an asset as anything that puts money in your pocket, whether you work or not. Your house, despite what you might have been told, is not an asset unless it's generating rental income. Your car is definitely not an asset. It's taking money out of your pocket through depreciation, maintenance, and fuel costs. Real assets, according to Kiyosaki, are things like rental properties that generate positive cash flow, businesses that can operate without your constant involvement, stocks that pay dividends, and intellectual property that earns royalties. The goal is to acquire assets that generate passive income, gradually reducing your reliance on earned income. This focus on acquiring assets rather than just increasing income is a game changer. It's the difference between working hard for money and having money work hard for you. It's what allows people in the B and I quadrants to achieve true financial freedom. But here's the thing. This journey isn't a one-time event. It's not about making a single smart investment or starting one successful business. It's about continuous learning and adaptation. The financial world is constantly changing, and to stay ahead, you need to be committed to ongoing financial education. This might mean reading books, attending seminars, finding mentors, or even playing financial education games like Kiyosaki's CASHFLOW. The key is to never stop learning and growing your financial intelligence. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm comfortable in my job. I don't want to start a business or become an investor. And that's okay. The cash flow quadrant isn't about pushing everyone to become entrepreneurs or full-time investors. It's about understanding the different ways of generating income and making informed choices about your financial future. Even if you choose to remain an employee, understanding the principles of the cash flow quadrant can help you make better financial decisions. It can guide you in how you invest your savings, how you think about career advancement, and how you prepare for retirement. For instance, an employee who understands these concepts might focus on building a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks or rental properties alongside their regular job. They're still in the E quadrant for their main income, but they're building streams of passive income in the I quadrant. Over time, these investments could grow to provide financial security beyond what their job alone could offer. As we wrap up our exploration of Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take a moment to assess which quadrant you're currently in. Be honest with yourself. Then, think about where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years. What quadrant do you aspire to? Remember, this isn't about judging your current position. Every quadrant has its place, and there are successful, happy people in all 4. But if you find yourself yearning for more financial freedom, if you're tired of trading your time for money, or if you simply want more control over your financial destiny, then maybe it's time to consider a shift. Start small, educate yourself, look for opportunities to generate passive income. Maybe it's starting a side business, investing in real estate, or learning about stock market investing. Whatever it is, take that first step towards expanding your financial horizons. Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant isn't just a concept, it's a tool for transformation. It has the power to change not just how you think about money, but how you think about your life and your potential. It challenges us to dream bigger, to take control of our financial destinies, and to strive for true financial freedom. In a world where financial uncertainty is the norm, understanding and applying the principles of the cash flow quadrant can be your key to not just surviving, but thriving. It's about building a life where you have the freedom to choose how you spend your time, rather than being dictated by the need to earn a paycheck. So, I encourage you to dig deeper. Get your hands on a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Read it, study it, and most importantly, apply its lessons to your life. Remember, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is freedom. Before we sign off, I want to remind you that you can find a link to purchase Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant on Amazon in the description of this episode. Whether you prefer a physical copy to scribble notes in the margins or an audiobook to listen to on your commute, investing in this book could be the first step in your journey to financial freedom. Also, don't forget to check out our website at ceoslibrary.com for the full transcript of this episode and some amazing visualizations that'll help cement these concepts in your mind. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant. Remember, your financial future is in your hands. Which quadrant will you choose? Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving towards financial freedom.